Even if you fuck up, it's a learning experience and you can get out your anger if you actually need to in a safe environment. Hello, my love. Welcome back to Arouse for another episode. I am your host and personal life coach, Samantha Pop, and today in the Boost Your Confidence series, I am sharing a surprising tool to help your confidence. So let's get into all the tea. Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. Look, I get it. There's so many different things on the internet telling you how to be more confident. But I'm here to share with you today a tip that no one ever taught me, and I wish that someone had when I was learning to build my confidence in any stage of my life. Because if you have heard any part of my story, then you will know that I was in abusive relationships, I had my eating disorder, and if you didn't, I share that in a variety of different episodes. And I love sharing this part of my story because it was the kick that I needed in order to build my confidence. If I was never in abusive relationships or had my eating disorder, would I have the drive to build my confidence to what it is today? I don't know. But I'm not here to talk about what ifs. I'm here to talk to you about, doesn't matter what stage of building your confidence that you're in, whether at the very beginning, whether you have a similar part of your story to mine, whether you're struggling with your body image, maybe you have body dysmorphia, maybe you're struggling with an eating disorder, or maybe you've been in or are currently in an abusive relationship and it's torn down your confidence. At any stage of you trying to build up your confidence again, because you were confident at one point in your life, I want you to think back to a point where you're confident, and this may be very difficult. It may feel so hard to think, well, when the fuck was I confident? Like, I can't really think back to that. And when I was in the process of recovering from my eating disorder, I would think back to how my grandma and my grandpa would always tell stories of me being this sassy little confident little thing, always speaking my mind, doesn't matter what came out of my mouth, because I did shock a lot of people by the things that I said. I was very confident in myself when I was younger. There's this one story that my grandma, I don't know if she loves to tell this story, but it's definitely one story that has made it across several of my ex-partners that they have heard. And I was 3 years old, waiting with my grandma at the YMCA near our house because my sister was in swim lessons. And I'm leaning up against the glass, looking for my sister, just amazed by the pool. And that's what my focus was on. This little boy comes up next to me, apparently trying to be my friend. My grandma says that the next thing that she saw me doing was lifting my leg and telling him to smell my farts. I was wearing a dress. I can't remember if I had leggings on or tights or if I just had bare legs, but I had a dress on. I wasn't wearing pants. I was in this cute little dress, and I lift my leg towards him as if I'm going to pee on a fire hydrant like I'm a male dog. The mother just has this crazy expression on her face like, did that little girl just say that to my son? So that was the confidence that I was exuding when I was about 3 or 4 years old. And that is still a story I love to tell anyone that I date, for them to know the kind of confidence that I had as a little girl. And I still have a lot of that spunk and confidence now as a grown woman. So for them to understand that I was confident like that when I was younger, to understand that now I still exude similar confidence, maybe not as ballsy as that, but more to see their reaction. And if they laugh and think, okay, that's kind of crazy, or for them to be completely shocked and disgusted would then give me an idea about how they would react to my current confidence as a grown woman. So I encourage you to think back, and maybe you have a funny story similar to yourself, maybe not to the point of lifting your leg and telling a little boy to smell your farts like I did. However, this is an opportunity for you to maybe think of stories that your parents would tell about you at family functions that maybe you were a little embarrassed about, but would show that you were confident as a young girl. These are the kind of stories that I encourage you to gather up and hold in a library within within yourself, because I have several of these stories that I still laugh about, even though I don't recall any of these memories. I still like to tell people these stories because I've heard them so many times over the years that it's almost like I was there from an outside perspective watching this happen. Having these stories in your vault or your library inside of you is going to help you build your confidence, because I want you to look back on that little girl that you were when you were exuding confidence and you weren't even trying to, because that's where we're going to come back to. Your confidence may not be in the same exact fashion how I was referring to how my confidence is still a little spunky and sassy now, but I would not tell a grown man to smell my farts in the same kind of sense. I mean, maybe I might, but you get my point. I hope at least one of your stories of when you were a little girl brings you some sort of joy. A lot of my stories make me laugh because I'm like, holy shit, did I really do that as a child? Because I don't remember a lot of these stories. My hippocampus obviously wasn't developed enough at that point for me to remember some of these memories. However, I still laugh because there's no way that someone would make this up. There is no way that my grandma or my grandpa would make up these stories about me. My sister doesn't really have any stories like that. She has different, slightly embarrassing stories, but not like mine. So I'm like, there's no way that they made this up. And I still laugh my ass off at thinking and telling some of these stories because I think they're hilarious. And at this point, you also may be thinking, well, Sam, I don't know if I want to exude even similar confidence when I was younger. But here's the thing. You are going to exude some of the similar confidence that you did when you were younger. It's just going to look different now because you're an adult. You have lived so much of your life since you were however many years old from that story that either someone told you or you remember acting that way. You've grown so much. So even if you don't like the way that you were exuding confidence as a little girl, it's going to be a stepping stone for you to build your confidence now. It's actually going to help you in building your confidence to speak up, building confidence in your voice. So that's what we're here about today. How to build confidence in yourself so you speak up when you feel that you need to. And of course, there are going to be situations where you do have to be quiet. And I'm not saying that in the sense that women should be seen and not heard, because I can guarantee you've heard that at least once in your life, most likely from a male role model or some male person in your life, because I've heard it many, many times, or I've been told to shut up by men that are older than me. Or so in the situation that I'm talking about now is you have to pick your battles, because even though I do like to speak up when I have an opinion or I feel like I need to speak up, especially when someone says something sexist or racist, there are times where I keep myself quiet, in the sense that maybe the topic of religion comes up with my mother. I don't fight her on that anymore. I used to, because I thought I was able to change her mind in the fact that, don't push religion on other people, or I don't like to talk about that. And instead, I don't fight her on that anymore. That's one example that I just don't speak up anymore. I just leave the conversation. So when my mom starts talking about religion, I just get up and I leave the conversation because I don't care to talk about religion with her. And that's an instance where I just need to be quiet and walk away. There's no point in me speaking up and having an argument with my mom over religion. That's just not something that I want to add to my day. It's not going to make me feel any better to argue with her, and it's not going to do any good for our relationship. So that is one example of how I stay quiet, or I pick certain battles on when I speak up. And I'm sure you are going to learn this in your own life as well. And when you actually want to speak up and you want people to hear you and you have the confidence to speak up for yourself, and then you also have the confidence to avoid arguments, potentially like my example with my mom and religion. It's just not something I like to have a discussion about or end up arguing about, because most of the time we do argue about it, and it's something I like to avoid. And in the instances where you quiet yourself, it's not like you have to stay quiet forever. And this is the thing that I'm really talking about, is the surprising tool to help your confidence is to actually have fake conversations with yourself. And you can actually see how you would react in certain situations. But here's the beauty of it. If you fuck up, It's just for practice. I've had so many fake conversations with myself in the car, in the shower, when I'm having a bath, when I'm walking my dog, when I'm just sitting on the couch doing nothing. I've had a lot of fake conversations with myself with many people, in the sense that whether I potentially know what they would say in return in that kind of conversation, I would play both sides, but also I would still have conversations with someone that I know I couldn't have in real time with that person, but there's still things that I need to get off my chest. So for example, I love using this when a relationship ends, whether it's a friendship or something with a family member or a romantic relationship with a partner. I recently ended my last relationship, and there were many conversations that I had with my ex-partner by myself. And even with my partner before that, it helped me realize a lot of things that I didn't know I needed to deal with. I didn't know how angry I was with my one ex over the way that our relationship ended until I had one fake conversation with myself when I was driving. And I got so angry. And in that moment, I realized, wow, I'm really upset about this. I am actually very angry. I hold a lot of resentment and anger towards him because of what happened. And that actually helped me move on, not only faster, but in a better way, because it showed me emotions and feelings that were not going to come up unless I had that fake conversation with myself. And you might even be thinking, Sam, you sound a little crazy. Everyone says it's crazy to talk to yourself. I don't care. I talk to myself all the time. If you are not comfortable with that, you do you. But I have come to terms with people saying that I'm crazy when I talk to myself, not only with fake conversations, but I will say, yeah, I've done this, and I make almost verbal to-do lists out loud to myself, and people might hear me, but I'm talking to myself. Does that make me crazy to be like, yeah, I did this, I did my laundry, I cleaned up this, and almost making like a verbal to-do list out loud? People might look at me crazy, but I don't really give a fuck anymore. If they want to think I'm crazy, they can. But that's also why I have these fake conversations in private by myself, especially when I'm home alone or I'm in my car by myself. I have had some conversations with Twister in the car that may not have been the best situation. And of course, if you have children, I encourage you to do this by yourself in a safe space where they cannot hear you, because children don't need to hear things like that. And hell, not even my dog needs to hear things like that, even though he can't understand most of it. But the point is, this is actually healthy for you to do by yourself, and it's going to help you build your confidence in your speaking skills. As weird as that sounds, for you to fight with yourself and a potential ex-partner, using this fake conversation strategy, it actually can help your speaking skills, because it's going to help you enunciate. It's going to help you get your point across, your opinion. And if you have any evidence to back it up, or if you just need to yell and get everything out, it's healthier than bottling it up. I wish someone told me this years and years and years ago. Doesn't matter with what, you can have whatever conversation that you want with yourself in a safe space, and doesn't matter if it goes sideways or not, it's still going to be safe because you're by yourself. And even if you fuck up, it's a learning experience. So you can get your anger out if you need to. I just mentioned how I realized that I was holding a lot of anger against my one ex, and I didn't realize that until I had this one fake conversation where I was predicting what my ex was going to say in return to the things that I was saying. And I blew up. Thankfully, I was in my car by myself, but it also gave me the realization that I had a lot of anger that I had to work through. And if I didn't actually work through that anger, I wouldn't have moved on from that relationship to the point where I am now. I do believe that you're not going to be 100% healed when you get into your next relationship unless you take off a lot of time, but you are still going to struggle with things into your next relationship. The most important part is that you recognize when you need to heal, or if there's something that you haven't healed yet, and having these fake conversations is an incredible way to do that. It's safe. It's not like you're going to hurt anyone. You're doing it by yourself. Even if you say something absolutely terrible, you're technically only saying it to yourself. Even though you are projecting it towards that person's not around. It's just you in your room, your car, your bathroom, your kitchen, wherever you are. It's just you. So even if you say something absolutely terrible, I heard this actually from my psychiatrist, that when you get angry, your IQ plummets. plummets. Like you actually get dumb when you get angry. So you're not going to be able to think as clearly when you're full of anger and all these emotions. You are going to let things slip out. So it's better for you to be angry by yourself and have these fake conversations where you might call someone a fucking cunt or a stupid bitch or whatever your swear is, whatever your phrase is that you would normally feel very, very terrible to say to someone. And you can't take that back when you actually say it to that person. When you're by yourself, you can just get that out. And yes, you can still feel terrible. I'm not saying that you don't, because you still technically exude that and project that onto that person because you're angry, but you didn't actually say it to them. So it can help you move forward and get things off your chest that you normally wouldn't be able to, because when relationships end, you don't get the closure that you want. Even with my one ex that I'm friends with, Cameron, and he's been on the podcast twice, there's still certain things about our relationship that I will never have closure on. And that's okay, because you can't get closure on everything. You can't. And even with my last relationship that I got out of, there is probably 99% of things that I will never have closure on because of the way that our relationship ended. And I've been able to work through that through certain fake conversations. So there is so much to gain by having these fake conversations with yourself. And I really encourage you to try it, even if it feels awkward, because everything feels awkward the first time that you do it. You're always a beginner when you try something new, and there's nothing wrong with that because everyone begins as a beginner. However, even if it feels awkward, you're still going to get something out of it by trying this exercise. So that is what your homework is for today. I encourage you to think of a situation, or maybe there's a relationship that ended and you would like closure on it. Maybe there's certain things that you necessarily don't really want to say to someone, but you need to get it off your chest. Like I said, the fucking cunt, or you're a stupid bitch, or whatever it is that you need to get off your chest. You can get it off your chest in that safe environment without actually saying it to them. And even if you feel scared to do so, it's just you. So I encourage you to have a fake conversation with yourself on whatever has been bugging you, whatever you need a little bit more closure on. You can get a little bit of closure from yourself by having this fake conversation. So let me know how it goes. If you love this episode, please make sure you screenshot it, tag me in your post, or send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. You can find me at my handle at The Soulful Body Co, and I will link that in the show notes as well. But let me know what was your golden nugget about today. If you've tried having fake conversations with yourself, let me know how that went for you. How did you feel after? And if this is the very first time that you're trying it, let me know how it goes for you. Tag me on social media. Send me a private message on Facebook or Instagram. Let me know, because I would love to hear how this went for you. I know the amazing benefits that I've had from it, and I would love to hear the benefits that you've gained as well. So make sure you stick around for the next episode. I have Kiki Ura and her interview from my Confidence Summit of 2020 talking about manifestation. So come join me in the Manifestation Queen in the next episode. I love you so much, and I will see you there.